Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Susie from the blog Girl Gone Green, and today we're going to be talking all about protein powders, what to look for in a clean protein powder, and what to avoid. So I actually have on an expert today, my brother, and also my naturopathic physician, my doctor, and he's also a creator of our protein powder. So I thought, what better person to bring on and really share the nitty-gritty about protein powders. So if you guys don't know, I also wrote a blog post where we dive deep into all the protein powders, really what makes a good protein powder and how to distinguish a good one from a bad one. And I'm sharing my very favorite, and I'm also sharing it at the end of this interview today as well. So we're going to dive right into the questions and really answer a lot of the questions that I get asked from email and direct message about protein powders from an expert. So welcome, Dr. Matt.
Thank you. Pumped.
Okay, so first of all, wanted to ask you, why would you want to use a protein powder to begin with? Or like, what are the benefits of using a protein powder? We see them everywhere now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my line related to that is always, you don't have to take a protein powder, don't feel pressured into taking protein powders, that kind of thing. But if you're going to take a protein powder, you're going to use a protein powder, you really want to use one that is top-notch, high quality, because there's this huge spectrum of benefit that can be gained from using a really high quality one. And then there's a spectrum of really disadvantage. And you hear about the metals and molds and all this kind of stuff in ones, and just additives and preservatives, emulsifiers in ones that are on the lower spectrum. So I would say, the reason is to use a protein powder. One would be, just like having challenges. Life's a lot faster these days. I got 7 kiddos, and I know it's like bam, bam, bam. One way for me to make a highly nutritious meal for them and take hardly any time at all is to blend up a smoothie and put awesome protein, in that smoothie, and know they're getting basically a whole food source of protein. And then of course, as we age, in order to maintain muscle mass, bone mass, even support detoxification, protein is the big dog. It's not the fat, it's not the carbohydrates that do that for us. It really is the protein that does that. And so, I think like that's one of the biggest deals is, especially I always think about as we age along, or just the speed of life, is getting a whole food source easy to get to, that keeps us out of the snack aisle, and grabbing chips and crackers and this kind of thing.
Yeah. I would say too, for myself, I make a smoothie every morning, and it's just one less meal that I have to think about preparing in advance or thinking about. I know I can just have a really nutrient dense meal, put some veggies, some fruit, and then my protein powder, and I'm good to go. So it's just, like you said, we live in a faster paced world. It's just nice to have a quicker option that's still healthy. So okay, so what do you want to look for in a protein powder, or what do you want to see in a protein powder when you're, in the aisle or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the first thing is just saying, okay, like how many ingredients are in it? Because when you go get a protein, it's like you want the protein, right? That is what you're going for. And so if there's a bunch of added things in there, that's probably not necessary. But two, the reason it's there is just to create better mouthfeel or make it more mixable, and change its flavor and that kind of thing. But it's not necessarily supporting what I would suggest is like your health accumulation or your well-being. And in the end, it's like, if you're doing it regularly, which is what happens, I literally every single day, we do Goat Whey protein. And so I want to make sure there's no, extra stuff coming in every single day, which I think was the big thing. We talked about, a lot of them that have added lecithins in there, or maybe aspartame or sucralose or Splenda, which is also sucralose, or acetylcholine, potassium, ACE-K, these different sweeteners, artificial sweeteners that are added in, or some do have just crazy amounts of added sugars too. That's a little bit less common, but if you're putting all those in with each scoop, that's that's like, you're supplementing with that, just like you're supplementing with the protein. And so, I mean, my go-to for sure when I look is like, I'm going to look for whey protein, and the cow type would be a one type. There's some from New Zealand and Australia, some types from there that are obviously pretty high value. The only thing is, if you talk about carbon footprint and stuff, it's like shipping it all the way to the United States, from New Zealand, processing it all, and then sending it back out around the world. That's kind of insane, right? So the next thing would be is a localer source closer to where you're at, and just for a shorter footprint, and then if you are like, I know I can't handle whey protein, I'm dairy sensitive, and maybe if you haven't tried goat whey protein, I'm not gonna say it too much because it is my favorite, but
we'll get there.
You're looking, I gotta go vegan or I gotta go vegetarian, that's just my style or my thinking process, or you just literally, I can't handle, no matter how clean the goat whey is, or the camel whey, or whatever your lamb whey, I just can't handle it because of some kind of allergy. Then I'm looking more for like, I would say hemp protein, a hemp-based protein, because that has a pretty good amino acid profile. And then you pretty much, if you want a complete amino acid profile, you're going to have to get one with a mixture. Either a little bit of pea added in, or just actually you'll see in the listing, actual amino acids that are added, like especially glutamine or cysteine, are added in, that are in great abundance in the whey protein, and what makes whey such a just amazing food. And there's just like endless studies on it showing, wow, immune benefits and digestive benefits and liver benefits and body composition benefits going forward. So I would say, I would be thinking, if I was going vegetarian vegan, I would look at the hemp would be my first. And then you pretty much, if you're going to get a vegetarian protein, you basically have to make sure it's been metal tested. Like, I wouldn't buy a vegetarian protein if it wasn't metal tested. Dairy whey, I would say, is not quite as big a deal, because if it is, because basically the only way the metals are going to get in the dairy, unless it's just some insane thing they're doing out there, but is actually through the processing itself, like going through machines and stuff, that some of like the isolates and that kind of stuff will go through. They're going through a lot of different machines to get turned into isolates when it comes to like whey protein isolates. Mm-hmm. And so you can definitely get like metal additives there. But for the most part, if you ever look, you're going to see that it's the vegetarian ones, the vegan formulas, that have the abundance of like metals and that kind of thing. Yeah. And it's mostly because it's just coming from the soil, and you're concentrating. Like we were just looking at like a quinoa protein formula with pea protein and I forgot, like I said, pumpkin seed protein in it. And you think, all of those, there's so little protein in a bunch of pumpkin seeds. So it takes this insane amount. Same with peas. It takes so many peas to get 20 grams of protein. And so anything else that's there is being concentrated. Any of the undesirable things. And we have a buddy, a mutual friend, that has a large supplement company who actually has stopped completely making any more vegetarian protein, just because it was so inconsistent in metal levels, and he has high standards. So I think that's where it's really, the vegetarian ones are always challenging for me to recommend.
Get behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you said whey is your like kind of standard. Mm-hmm. So what's the difference between whey isolate protein versus whey concentrate? Because I see those kind of out there on the market. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, so I see the simplest way to look at it is whey isolate is ultra processed, whereas whey concentrate, it can be more, some are more processed than others, but for the majority of the time it's going to be way less processed, for sure, than the isolate. And then within the concentrates, there's going to be levels of processing happening. But when you isolate the protein, it is an isolate. So you're really the only difference, and this is often purported out there, it's like, oh, why should you take an isolate? Is that there's more protein present. Like you look on the label and it says there's 20 grams of protein, and it's like, well, in a concentrate, that's actually not 20 grams. That's like 18 grams. But the thing is, doesn't make sense, let me know. The thing is, if it says on the label
there's 20 grams of protein in a serving, whether it's isolate or a concentrate, there's 20 grams of protein in a serving. Now your scoop size for the concentrate will probably be just a little bit bigger to get that same 20 grams, like there'll be more volume coming into you, but the serving size it's accurate for that amount of grams of protein. So that's one thing that kind of gets put out there related to isolates and concentrates, but the reality is if it says 20 grams of protein is in that serving, there's 20 grams of protein, you're just gonna get a little more volume in the concentrate because the concentrates can have these immunoglobulins, which are immune proteins that are amazingly supportive. I mean, they really are the thing that makes, I think, the concentrate kind of the superstar, like lactoferrin, which is amazing for immune support. A lot of people use it for antiviral stuff and for iron metabolism that really set the concentrates apart, which you're just not going to find that in the isolated protein.
Right, and the concentrate's better for your gut.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's actually, with using goat whey protein concentrate, there's actually a study looking at Crohn's and ulcerative colitis patients and basically seeing, sorry, I shouldn't have said patients, because this was in animals, but looking at putting ulcerative colitis in these animals and then giving them whey protein concentrate in the goat form and seeing all these immune proteins, these inflammatory markers go down with the whey protein concentrate. And that really is from the additive, which is found naturally, like lactoferrin and these immunoglobulins.
Right, and so isolates can be more, I guess, irritating to the gut because they are processed so much.
Well, right. Yeah, I mean, it's like your ultra processed, your potato chip versus like your potato.
Right.
Like a potato has got a lot of nutritional benefits for us. Potato chip is something we just want to eat, like here and there, right?
Such a good example.
Because it's lost most of its nutritional value, and now it's actually harsh to the body versus being something that could actually supply a lot of life.
Yeah, so good. Okay, so why choose a whey over a vegan? You kind of already hit on that a little bit, but
yeah, I think if you can have I do have patients that have allergies to whey, even goat whey, so they can't take it. Very, very few to goat whey, but there are people that do have still allergies or sensitivities. And maybe that's what they're gonna have to do, a vegetarian. But if you do not, if you're not that 1% that has the allergy, then you definitely want to choose whey because literally there's all the studies are on whey. Just endless benefits from cancer patients to heart disease to diabetes to detoxification and support through the gut because it's like the whey concentrate is like a living food. Sure, you could heat it and do all this crazy stuff to it, but you can also not do all this crazy stuff to it, and it still basically maintains its life value. Whereas, the isolate from the pea is just the amount of energy. It's like I would say a sunflower seed has health benefits to us, but sunflower oil put into these crackers, there's no benefit to it, right? In fact, we find that it's actually caustic to the body. So I think that's one of the big deals related to the peas, the rices, the hems, the pumpkin seeds, quinoas, all these different proteins, is that, if you have to, I would, one, make sure it's metal tested if it is a vegetarian one, and I would choose more the hemp variety as my go-to because its overall amino acid profile is better. But, the whey protein has got the perfect amino acid profile.
Yeah, maybe even on that.
It's like the bioavailability of those proteins coming in is 100%. Whereas, it's down, 80, 60, 75% with these vegetarian proteins. And that's why they have to add in, things like cysteine. The cysteine, you may have heard of N-acetylcysteine and all, the benefits for so many things. But the cysteine in the whey protein is actually one of the things that there's such high levels that in itself is considered, whoa, we take whey protein concentrate, glutathione levels go up. Glutathione is the main antioxidant in every cell in our entire body. So that goes up, and that's because of that cysteine, the amount of cysteine there in the whey protein concentrate. Whereas the vegetarian sources, they don't have that, or it's very, very small. And so they actually add it in. So you usually see like L-cysteine or L-glutamine in the other ingredients part to basically build up the amount of amino acids that are not present in the whey protein.
Yeah.
Or sorry, not present in the vegetarian proteins. And then also, that's kind of funny because with vegetarian proteins, it could say 20 grams of protein per serving, but it doesn't mean actual whole protein. You know, that the glutamine, the L-cysteine, glycine, the other amino acids they add in, they can actually say that that is protein. So it's kind of wild. There's a lot of things to consider there.
Yeah, because why would you want to consume a complete protein? So what's the
Well,
benefit?
yeah. So I also, you know, when you think about a complete protein, so whey protein, you know, it's a structure coming into your being, and that in itself, you know, it's not the same as just like piling yourself a bunch of amino acids. Like, I'm just gonna take a bunch of glutamine. I'm gonna take a bunch of cysteine. That is not the same thing as taking whey protein. Like, whey protein itself has all these signalings that happen that support life and longevity in the body. Whereas, so the pea protein, the rice protein, they are a protein substance, and you know, you get calories from them, that kind of thing. But you're not getting the life substance. You're literally, you're getting dead protein, which is kind of like, I really don't ever recommend vegetarian proteins unless we're really in a kind of sticky situation with a patient.
Yeah, it's so good. Okay, so let's move on to Goat Whey protein powder. So why did you create Goat Whey protein out of all of them? Because you guys probably, you may or may not have heard of goat. I feel like it's not very common. So this is a gold mine.
Yeah, so the goat came out of, I was trying to find just a really, really clean source of whey. And I was thinking, it was cow whey. And I was looking, the New Zealand, and all that. And one, I was like, geez, this is crazy. We're going to ship all this whey protein, to Washington State. And then we're going to send it back out of the world. This seems kind of wild. And two, just so many people are sensitive to cow whey. And it's very interesting, but even though, these words are all the same, we say casein, we say whey, we say lactose in dairy products or cow products, and the same words are used in goat products or even camel or sheep. You probably noticed, if you're sensitive to cow stuff, that you might be able to eat sheep cheese or you might be able to eat goat cheese or these things. It's because the actual structure of the whey, the configuration is a little bit different. Even the casein portion is a little bit different. The lactose part is a little bit different. It's more digestible, more available. We have a family member or an in-law who actually would take cow whey and his throat would close up, so he can't do it. Basically almost coming anaphylactic to it. And he tried with Benadryl on hand, goat whey, and nothing happened. He was totally fine. How is this possible? This is like crazy. But we get those stories all the time because literally, and I didn't know this when I first got into looking into whey, the ins and outs of it, but yeah, literally the structure makes all the difference in whether or not the body's going to have this allergenic response, an irritant response from it. So, even though in a concentrate, there's a little bit of lactose in there, it's like when people are lactose sensitive and they can take the goat whey, and it's wild. And it really all has to do with, that little bit of structure change that comes from the goats. So yeah, that was, the impetus was I wanted to have a protein I could take, my family could take, and I just didn't really feel like I was comfortable with a lot of them that were out there. And then we came upon a source that was super local, family farm, and then non-GMO, no pesticides, no herbicides, nothing like that, and ever. And it's like 7+ years old, and and it was all like from the farm where the goats were to where the whey is created, or basically taken off of the milk, to my office or where we were shipping from. It's like a 10-mile radius, or maybe even less. I haven't actually measured it specifically, but it's about a 10-mile radius. It was wild. I was like, this is exactly how it should be. So that was kind of, when we figured that out, it was, super pumped.
Yeah, because the benefits of goat whey, I would say, are like so much better for your gut.
Oh yeah.
And like you said, people are able just to digest it, not getting any bloating. Like I noticed that right away, no bloating. It's super light. Like you don't feel, this kind of like ball in your stomach sometimes people will feel from protein powders. You just don't feel that at all. So that is one thing they have shown in basically cow versus goat when the proteins are intaken, that it doesn't form this hard curd in the stomach. Like literally the actual picture forming a hard curd, like the cow whey does. The goat whey doesn't do that, which is why even myself, like I could literally take 2 scoops of goat whey, go for a run and not, it's like, wow,
It's almost like I just drank some water. But yet I just got, 20 plus grams of protein in me. So that's, it's just so kind. And you can literally, it's almost like when you feel like, wow, it's so light.
Yes.
That's wild how light it is. But that also is because there isn't like the lecithin, there's no emulsifiers, none of those kind of additives in there.
Yeah, it's super clean. Just has goat whey,
stevia, and then
natural
for this one is the Madagascar vanilla extract.
Yeah. So, and they also have a chocolate flavor as well. But I mean, as far as ingredients go, I've really done my research on protein powders. This is like next level with ingredients and not having the emulsifiers. Even ones that you might think are really, really clean out there have emulsifiers, I found. And they do that, you've told me, because...
Yeah, I mean, it works with mouthfeel, and basically when you blend it and those kind of things, it often will blend easier, or like a shaker bottle, it'll disperse quicker. But I mean, it's not really that big a difference. That I found. That hasn't really been a complaint we've ever experienced, but that is the main reason for it, is trying to change that mouthfeel, especially with isolates.
Yeah, and I think too, one thing to consider is if you're taking a protein that has those additives, all the time, it adds up,
No, I think that's
And I've heard people say they have gut issues or they're bloating or, different, even influencers that I follow, and they're taking a protein powder with xanthan gum every single day. That's going to build up over time. So I think those are just things to keep in mind if you're, most people have their protein powder like once a day at least.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like coffee. You want to make sure it's clean.
Yeah, I think that's the thing too, is basically all of us have some kind of irritant effect from gums, even organic, all that kind of stuff, or even like sunflower lecithin. We all have some kind of like, if we take it along, it's like there's some level of irritation. Some of us never touch that again. Others of us, it could take a couple years for us to really notice it, but there's still an irritation coming from it.
Yeah.
So if you don't need to, there's not a nutritional value added to you,
right,
by having that as a part of it.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you like to consume goat whey protein? What do you and your family do? I feel like you're...
we kind of put it everywhere. But yeah, whether it's like pancakes or, smoothies, literally, this is about the afternoon now, so I already made multiple. I mean, most of my older girls will make them their own, but my younger girls like me to make them for them. Because they think I do a really good job. They feel like I just really can make it that real creaminess. But over and over, it's strawberries, it's blueberries, blackberries, and ice and bananas, frozen bananas especially. The freezing of the banana, put in, it just makes it so creative. It's like literally like ice cream when you mix it with the chocolate or vanilla Goat Whey. And then we put in cookies, all over the place.
Oatmeal, protein balls, protein bars, yogurts, iced coffee drinks blended up.
Oh yeah, that's
so
like just coming out of that cold brew season where you shake it up with some ice, 2 shots of espresso, and the thing you do not need to add anything to it.
Yes,
it's like ready to roll.
Yeah,
and tastes so delicious.
I have a recipe for that on my Instagram if you're wanting to make that. It's so good. But yeah, you can really use it. We use it in so many ways. I have a full list on my blog of all the ways I use it, but it's just, you can really do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
It just tastes so good. So, I feel like that's pretty good. Anything else, Dr. Matt, you want to add? Or?
No, I just think I always don't ever feel pressured to have protein on board. As far as I got to take a supplement, I got to take a supplement on protein. But when you're going to do it, and I know I have endless, it's hard to find a patient that isn't coming in and taking some kind of supplemental protein, is do yourself the best service and just say, I'm going to make sure it's nourishing me and not just basically adding a macronutrient. So I don't think we need more macronutrients, we need more nourishment.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like, the Goat Whey protein concentrate is so valuable.
Yes, exactly. And I will say, like I said, I have a full blog post of all the protein powders that we've researched and dug into, and this one is my favorite. It tastes so good. My kids love it. A lot of people ask about the goat flavor. It doesn't have a strong goat flavor to me. I like goat products, I guess I would say too. So, but I've never been it's never been a problem.
That's like
for me.
Probably like 0.0001%
Yeah.
of the
I would say that's probably a common question I might get, but it's so good. So if you're looking for a protein powder that you can feel good about taking, I would definitely recommend the Goat Whey protein powder. It is delicious, and the chocolate's really good too. So thanks, Dr. Matt.
Thanks for having me.
And then don't forget to check out the blog post with all the details for our recipes and just to read more about Goat Whey protein and how you can get it. I'll leave a link below so you can actually buy it, and we do have a coupon code below as well, and we'll leave it across the screen, but it's Girl Gone Green for 15% off. So make sure and check that out too.